So let's talk cost. Let's talk about what we've got invested in the build so far with everything that I've shown you that has come in, that has arrived. And then we're going to talk about the remaining items that we still have to get ordered. And then we'll talk a little bit about maybe some of the stuff that would be nice to have in the future that we may add to the vehicle as we go forward. So this is going to be, it's going to be a lot. It's going to give you a lot of information here. So take notes, rewind, feel free to stop the video, rewind it, and figure out exactly what information you need and how it can help you. So let's talk about what we've got in this so far. So first thing we got is we got a bed mat. This one came pre-lined with the Rhino liner. It's slick, stuff slides around. So rough country bed mat off of Amazon was $100. So the bed rack, that was a big one. So looking at that, there are a lot of choices in bed racks. You can go everything from just a couple of crossbars to hold the tent to full systems like the Z-Roads, which is, I'd love to have that bed rack, but it's like $2,300. So, my second choice, what I was really kind of leaning to was either the Rebel Off-Road or the RCI. And you're looking $1,200-1,300 for the Rebel and $900 for the RCI. I found this on Marketplace. Again, Chinese imported rack. Gave the kid $250 for it. It's going to hold the tent. It's going to hold the stuff on the sides that I need, and gives me a lot more money to spend elsewhere. So first thing I bought once we got the Gladiator, and this is kind of something I recommend, is it recovery gear. So get yourself a strap, get yourself some shackles, get yourself some traction boards. That has to be one of the first things that you buy if you're going to go off-road, because you're going to get stuck. At some point, you are going to get stuck. Unless you're with a group of people that has all that stuff, you're going to need to get yourself out. And even if you are with other folks, they may not have the stuff. And so they would need the stuff you bring. So recovery gear is number one important on the list. That's the first thing that I bought. And so I got 30-foot toe strap. I got an 8-foot tree saver. I got a couple of soft shackles. I got, and then I got the bar that goes into your hitch receiver on the back of a vehicle, 2-inch, with a shackle on that so you can hook onto the back and winch somebody backwards or pull somebody backwards, because going forward it may not be an option for them. So all in all, in all my recovery gear, I spent $165. Now, various levels of quality. Again, this is kind of a mid-priced, mid-quality brand, but I have lots of options for it. And we may end up upgrading some of the stuff as we go forward. But at least now, even if I use it once and it's done and it breaks, it's a whole lot cheaper than bringing a tow truck. So, especially if you're out in the middle of nowhere. So, recovery gear, number one. The 5-pound LP tank, $52. The mount for it was $42. The 12-foot hose for it was $30. As we talked about earlier, the 2 quick fists were $12 for a pair, so I got $25 there. The rack clamps to hold the rack down on the bed was $26. So, first optional item. This is not something you need, but it's something that really does make life a whole lot easier, and that's the fridge. So that's a fridge freezer. It's a 60 quart. It came off Amazon, got it on sale, $100 off. So I paid $359 for that. So again, that's not much more than a Yeti cooler or one of the high-end coolers. And this is, you're not gonna have to buy ice when you're out on the trail. That's kind of one of the things to think about. Are you going to be able to get to town to get ice? How often? Do you want soggy food? You got to keep stuff cold. So that's one of those value propositions you have to weigh and kind of say, hey, do I want a good high-end cooler to have to get ice, or do I want to buy a fridge? No. It's a lower cost fridge. I really want to get an IceCo. That's kind of an upper mid tier price fridge, and they're really good. But a lot of guys have had good luck with this too. So we'll see how long it lasts. Maybe it'll last us a year, and I'll be crying because I got to go buy a new fridge. We'll find out. We'll do that together. So the Home Depot totes for our dry goods and cooking stuff, those were about $27 a piece. That's $54. The pack outs from the Milwaukee, those were $180. I got a fridge slide out coming from Rough Country. Caught that on sale at Christmas here for $160. The front bumper, and we're going to go into more detail on all of this stuff. We'll do individual videos of the different pieces, parts, and how they break down and fit into the system as we get stuff built out here. The bumper, I wanted something that was as lightweight as possible, keep the stress down on my front suspension, because by the time I have to hang a winch out there, you're adding quite a bit of weight to the front of the Jeep, and that's going to pull you down. And then if you can avoid suspension upgrades, that saves you a ton of money. So this particular bumper, Barricade Off-Road from ExtremeTerrain.com. Again, it was with the bumper was, let's see, $375, but it weighs 76 pounds, which is a lot lighter than most of the other steel bumpers out there. But I've had the same bumper on my JL, and it was fantastic. Took rock hits great, held up. The steel is good. The thickness is good. It's well welded. The welds were clean. So, you know, I'm going to trust that I haven't unboxed it yet, but hopefully tomorrow we'll get that put on. And it's been a good bumper for $375. Winch, again, caught this on sale from Open Road. It's their Panther 2 series. Again, made in China. All the winches are made in China, with the exception of the very high-end Warren winches. Even Warren's lower-end, more entry-level winches are made in China. All right, so this had great reviews. We're going to try it out. It is fully waterproof. I can submerge it. Nylon rope on it. 13,000 pounds of pulling capacity. Fits in the bumper. You know, I caught it on sale for $350, including tax and shipping. So again, it was a really great deal, and we're going to see if that pays off for us in the long run. Again, $375, if it gets me out of a situation, cheaper than bringing a tow truck out to the middle of nowhere. So next thing, the Blue Eddies, the power banks. Again, we opted for a fridge. We've done the cooler thing for a long time since it's our first fridge. We ride with a lot of people that have fridges, and man, it sure seems to make their life easier. So fridge, and so the Blue Eddies, I got two of them. I got a small one for in the tent, and I got the bigger one to power the fridge. And again, Christmas time, you catch these things on sale. You take your time, shop, wait, be patient, catch stuff on sale. I got both of those Blue Eddy units with 200 watts of solar panels, shipped, tax and all, for $1,172. So normally that'd be almost $2,000. So I saved almost 50% by waiting until they went on sale. So the shovel I already had, but if I had to replace it, it was $20. The axe I already had. You know, I have the Fiskars, lightweight. For me, you know, I'm not 25 anymore, just a couple years beyond that. So, you know, I want something lightweight and durable, so that way I don't get worn out chopping down stuff or getting firewood or clearing obstacles off the trail. I'll also have my 18-volt recip saw with me with a wood blade on it that's 10, 12 inches long. So it'll function as a chainsaw for me, and it can really clear some wood. It really does a good job. So that's another option to think about, because a lot of us have recip saws in our tool chests already. So you just get the right blade for it. You don't need to buy a chainsaw. This thing does fantastic. So air compressor, that's up in the front of the truck. Air compressor is another one of those areas where you can spend a whole lot of money, or if you shop, I got this one from Napa Auto Parts. It's a twin cylinder, 300 liters per minute. So this thing puts out some big air. It's the same compressor as the Smittybilt and as the Moab, and both of those sell for a whole lot more. I think that Moab was $700-800. This is the same compressor, again, all made in China, but decent quality. Now, is it an ARB? No, it's not. But, you know, is it something, how often are you going to use it? Airing up and airing down? For the price, yeah, I caught it, normally they're $150. I caught it on sale at Christmas for $125. So, you know, versus paying for the Smittybilt or the ARB or the Moab, this is a pretty good compressor. A lot of guys are running them. I found them in a lot of channels. A lot of guys have had them for years. They work great. So now to the big stuff. The biggest thing that we spent money on was our rooftop tent. We went with a Tough Stuff Alpha rooftop tent. And again, we started out, and I highly recommend this because you can score some really great deals, but start off on Facebook Marketplace. There's always a lot of this gear for sale on Marketplace, and if you're careful and take your time, you're going to find some really good deals. As we were looking for rooftop tents, I saw, you know, 2-person rooftop tents for, you know, and good names, CVT, Free Spirit Recreation, Overland Vehicle Systems. I saw them down as cheap as $600. So not a whole lot of money. The Tough Stuff Alphas were $1,800 to $2,000 in the used market. With Christmas sale, they were $2,300 direct from the manufacturer with a warranty. So we went new. We needed something bigger for my wife, our 10-year-old son, and our dog. So we didn't want a 55-inch wide tent. We went up to a 74-inch tent. So it's bigger, it's heavier, but it gives us a lot more room and be very comfortable when we're out camping. Now, rooftop tent, I mean, with tax and shipping, we're $2,500 into this. Okay, and then the last thing that I'm going to mention before I come back and finish the rooftop tent discussion here is that I've also got $75 in brackets and some aluminum channel and some brackets and the hardware to build a system up on top of the roof rack, on the bottom of the roof rack, hanging down to where I can slide in my 4-foot table. So that way when we go out, we just pull it right out, set up the camp stove, and we're off to work here making dinner. So back to the tent. So there's a lot of different ways, you know, to think about tents. We did ground tents for a lot of years. You know, $2,500 is a lot of money. When we get to the final number here, you can see how much that would go down if we went with ground tents. Now, we've done ground tents, we've got them. We like being up. We like the size, we like the durability, and we like how quick and easy it is when we're getting up in the morning, making breakfast, breaking down camp, getting on the trail, headed to the next spot. So there was a lot of value for us. We've had rooftop tents before. We had it on our M416 military trailer that I was building out, and we just love it. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. And does it fit every kind of camping style? No, it doesn't. So a rooftop tent may or may not be right for you. We're going to get into that discussion a lot more in a future video, but you know, we like a rooftop tent for our style of travel. It works well. It was something we were willing to spend money on. So, you know, right now, total, everything that we've bought, we're right at $6,091, okay? So not a bad price for the setup that we've got. You can do a lot of things with this setup. You can travel a lot of places, and this will last us for years. This is not something we're going to have to change out next year. This is something that will last us for years. So when you look at the number that way, especially considering there are rooftop tents out there that alone by themselves can cost you $4,000 to $5,000. If you get into some of the cab enclosures, the alu-cabs, the habitats, things like that, those things are upward at $10,000 to $15,000. Now, there's a lot of benefits to them. They're fantastic products, but that's not what I would consider a budget build. And we're looking for the best cost to value ratio here. And so that's what we're kind of designing. So we've still got some stuff to buy yet. And so I'm going to break that down for you here quickly so we can get kind of a final number as to where we think we're going to end up with on this build. So I need to get the 4-tire inflation deflation kit from Morflate. That's going to run me about $225 with the adapter to hook onto the air compressor I got. We're going to get a Midland GMRS radio for in the cab. So we're looking at the 15 watt or the 50 watt. I still haven't decided which one I'm going to get yet. So I'm either looking at about $270 or $430. I'm thinking probably 15. I don't know that I need the 50 watt, but I'm still trying to research that and see if that's going to be a benefit to spend that extra money. I've got to put a 12-volt socket in the bed. Going to get the parts ordered from Amazon for that, for the wire and the marine grade socket that'll give me USB charging. It'll give me a voltage monitor, an on-off switch, and a lockable 12-volt socket to power the fridge and the Blue Eddy. When we're going down the road, it's going to be about $75. Got to get a couple Rotopax mounts. That's $100. Traction board mount is $50. We've already got a set of traction boards. So we're going to start off using those, but at some point we will need to get some traction boards because these old boards we've used them for years, and they are a little broke on the one end, but still usable on the other. These guys have seen some action. We've recovered our vehicle and other vehicles. This is probably 8 or 9 recoveries on these boards. These were Amazon X-Bulls, $80. To start with. So, it's something that you need to have, especially if you don't have a winch. You need the recovery gear. You need to be able to get yourself out. So you got to get some kind of a recovery board. So new recovery boards are going to run us anywhere between $125 and $300. Haven't decided if it's worth it to go to the Max Tracks or the ARBs yet. That puts me up in that $300 price range. Or if I go with something like a Rhino USA or the upgraded version of these or the DV8s, there's a lot of choices. So I'm still trying to figure out where to put that money and how much we're going to spend on that. Back to GMRS radios quickly though. Again, you don't need an in-cab one. The handhelds work, and you're going to want handhelds anyway for when you got somebody out spotting you so that you can talk. Vehicle to vehicle, through the glass, and all the interference you're going to get from the cage of the vehicle. These are really only good for a quarter mile, maybe half a mile, unobstructed. So when you're in a convoy, you're traveling with other vehicles, these can work okay. They're going to work better when you're out on the ground, when you're in camp, when you're hiking, that kind of stuff. You're going to get a little more range. The vehicle mounted radio is going to get me 15 to 50 miles. So, that's kind of the differences. But, these are a must-have. Some sort of GMRS radio, FRS radio, you're looking at $100. So you need to add that to your budget. So Rotopax mounts, traction board mounts, driving lights. I am going to throw some driving lights on the new bumper. Would love to have KC highlights. Love the product. But at $600, there's options out there that, for me, in my use case, I think is a better spend of my money. So I've run aux beam lights for years, and I've had really, really good luck with them. So I had them on our last Jeep, and never had an issue with them. I've had them on other vehicles. Again, are they as nice and as well built as the KC highlights? No. But Auxbeam's new higher end Pro Series stuff, it's starting to knock on that door. And they're half the cost. Those are $300. And then if I go with something that not quite as much output, I can get down to $180. So we're going to figure out where we want to put that money as well. So I'm going to build a little system in the back here to mount the fridge slide to, and then give us storage to slide these totes into, and kind of organize the back and be able to tie everything down and stabilize it so that when we're going down the road, stuff's not flopping all over the bed. So I've got about $200 that I'm going to need, in plywood, hardware, screws, all that kind of fun, happy stuff to do that. We're going to get an insulating blanket for the fridge. We live in southern Utah. The summer gets to be 1,000,000 degrees. We're going to make that more efficient, help it stay cooler, work it less hard, so that way we don't wear the fridge out, and we can get more life out of our battery. Because I think in the summer, that 4 days worth I'm getting out of the battery at 60, I think is going to be 2 days. So we're going to have to charge it more. We'll see how that works out and see what actually happens. But an insulation blanket for that is gonna be a big help. And then I got to get some dash mounts for my tablet, phone, and GoPro, so I can make these videos for you. So what we have left to spend is a little over $1,600, $1,630. So then the last thing we're going to do to finish out the build is get 35-inch tires on this thing. It comes with 33s, and 33s are fantastic. You can go a lot of places with 33s. If you've got recovery gear, especially if you've got a winch, you may not need bigger tires, especially if you're not going to be doing a lot of rock stuff. Unfortunately, we live in southern Utah. There's a lot of rocks in the desert, so we're going to go with 15s, looking at probably the Kenda Cleavers. They go on sale quite a bit. Right before Christmas, I had a chance, and I should have pulled the trigger, but I could get a set of 5 for $1,250 mounted. So you can just, again, be patient, shop, research, and you can find some deals out there where you're not spending $2,000, $3,000 on a set of tires. Part of the reason for the Kendas is I want to keep my stock Rubicon wheels, because good wheels are going to add another $1,500 to $2,000 to your build price, especially if you're doing bead locks. If you do non-bead locks, yeah, you can get wheels for $800, $1,000 for a set of 5. Okay. Now, the standard Rubicon wheels are 7.5 inches wide, so I can't really run a 12.5 inch wide tire, and I don't really want to. We're going to talk more about tires in an upcoming video, but there are some videos out there that I will mention and link to in the upcoming video on tire sizes, where a 10.5 inch tire compared to a 12.5 inch tire, you're going to be really surprised about the amount of contact patch you have, the amount of traction you're going to get, and the surfaces that the 10.5 inch tire may actually be a better choice than the wide tires. Now, mud withstanding. If you're doing a lot of mud, yeah, the wider tire is going to help you. But rocks, sand, dirt, gravel, pretty much every other surface, these videos have got some really interesting things to look at when considering tire width choices. And the other thing I'll tell you is look at what the Aussies do. These guys are doing off-road stuff, hardcore, have been for years. Look what they run in Australia, look what they run in Africa. It's not big wide tires. They're running 9 to 10 inch wide, 10.5 inch wide tires, and there's a reason for that. So tires, another 610, then a TerraFlex 1.5 inch leveling kit. Bring me up just a little bit more, give me a little bit more clearance on these tires. I can run 35 stock on the Gladiator Rubicon, but I'm going to give myself just a little bit more flex room and level the truck out a little bit. I don't want to take it too high because I'm carrying a load up top, and we're going to talk about that kind of stuff more as well, about setting up your vehicle, where you're placing your gear, how it's going to handle when you raise it up, when you put bigger tires on it, when you put a lift kit on it, when you put a rooftop tent up front, load down this bed. It's going to change how your vehicle handles and drives. And so that's something you need to be aware of and something you need to practice with, because off-road, it does change what you can go through and how you can get through it and how easy. So that's kind of the whole list. So $93.51 is the grand total for everything. Now, there's a ton of ways you could cut that back, obviously. We've talked about some of them. You don't need a rooftop tent. Boom, $2,500 gone. Now you're down under $7. You don't need a fridge. You can do coolers. There's a lot of things you could cut out. You don't need to spend a ton of money to get out an Overland. In fact, right now with the vehicle you've got, especially if it's a four-wheel drive, you get yourself a ground tent, a cooler, something to cook on, a few basic utensils, a light, some bug spray, off you go. You can get into overlanding very, very economically. But if you want a little bit more comfort, you want a little bit more capabilities, you want to be able to do longer trips in more remote destinations, then yeah, you're going to need some more stuff to take with you. But it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. I could choose all of this stuff from other brands and easily double that number. and put $18,000, $20,000 into this thing. So let's wrap this up with kind of just talk about the vehicle. I know I'm going to get it into comments. Oh yeah, but that's a Jeep Rubicon Gladiator, and that's a really nice vehicle to start with. They're really expensive, and yada yada yada. Yeah, it is. It is, and you don't need it. You don't need this vehicle. There's a lot of second generation 4Runners out there, a lot of older Jeeps out there, a lot of your smaller pickup trucks, even full size trucks can be very capable if they're set up right. This is what we wanted. This is what we chose. We've been waiting for this thing for 4 years, and it's here because finally prices have come down. They're kind of crazy right now. New ones are really crazy. Used ones have even come down. We bought this used. We didn't buy it new. It was 2022 model year. It was owned by the Jeep dealership general manager. Maintenance has been done on this thing every 3,000 miles, regular as clockwork. He drove it back and forth to work. It was a grocery getter. They've not abused this thing at all. Everything is in great shape. 24,000 miles on it, 25,000 miles on it when we got it. Got him to put on the 100,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty with it, which to me is very important. You're traveling long distance, having that warranty, especially when you're going off-road, great thing to have. Really, really important to me. May not be as important to you, and that's okay. We go out, we see people in all different kinds of vehicles, and they're out having fun, and that's what really is important about this. But just to kind of run the numbers here for you, this is a 2022. I've got the sticker for it. Last year, this vehicle stickered out at a little over $64,000, $64,400, $64,500. We bought it for $43,000. Okay, so we got a smoking deal on this thing, and they're out there. Jeep's running their 15% off right now on Gladiators. So that's a $10,000 or $12,000 discount on a brand new one if that's what you want to go with. Or, like I said, buy used. A lot of times you can get a used one that's got a bunch of these mods done to it already. May already have tires and a lift and a bumper and a winch and all of those things. And that can save you a ton of money. But so we bought this at 43. We're going to put just under 10 into it. We're at 53. So we're still $11,000 under sticker on this vehicle. We got a daily driver. That's the other consideration in how we set things up, is this is my wife's daily driver. So she drives us to work and back every day, the grocery store, picking up kids, moving stuff, people around. So we want it to be able to handle well on the road, be safe, and not be an overweight, overloaded, off-balance vehicle that's going to be more dangerous for her and the kids to run around in. So, there's a lot of considerations, and we're going to go into all these in more detail. I just wanted to do kind of a quick overview, show you day one, what we got done. We'll do more videos as we get more stuff done on this thing and get the build done. And then I just kind of wanted to talk about kind of a high-level overview of what we've spent and what it's going to cost us to do this, and give you guys some options so that you can start thinking about taking a vehicle you've got, or if you're planning on getting a new vehicle or a new to you vehicle, a used one, and you want to start overlanding. What do you really need? And it's not a lot. The biggest thing, for me is I just want you guys to get out there and have fun. We've seen so many things, had so many fun experiences. Everybody, the kids remember them. We talk about them all the time. The stuff we did 5-6 years ago, when we started this thing 6 years ago. The kids love it. We've got the videos, the record. We've watched our kids grow up, and they want to go out and do this stuff on their own now. So it's really a fantastic activity. It's a great way to see the country. There's so much beauty out here, so many things that you can see and do, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. And the final thing, I'll talk about is, you take a look at a good family vacation for a family of 5. You take them to Disney. You take them on a cruise. You go do something that it's going to cost you some money. You could spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 pretty easily on, a Disney vacation for your family. Doing something like this, overlanding, yeah, we're going to put 10 into this, but I'll be able to take family vacations, long weekends for years to come for a whole lot less than going to Disney every year. So you know, it's not a lot of money. It is, but it isn't when you look at it the right way. And if you do it slowly, we're going to build this up over time. And this is where we think we're going to end up. But I just wanted to kind of share that and get everybody thinking about it and let you know that you don't need to spend a lot to get out. Just get out. Get the basics. Get out there. For $500, you can be out on the trails. All right? We look forward to seeing you guys out on the trails. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will answer every comment. And we're going to have more detailed videos coming on all the different pieces, parts. We'll break down the kitchen. We'll break down the front bumper and winch. We're going to talk about suspension. We're going to talk about driving a vehicle that's set up for overlanding and what you need to think about. There's just so many more topics we're going to cover. Got tons of videos coming for you. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you next time.